Hi guys, welcome to Interior Insights. I'm Jane and we are standing in an old, historic, tiny chalet in the center of Hamburg. If you love historic buildings and just this really ancient charm, this video is for you. If you like the video, make sure to subscribe. So, as you can see, I'm standing basically inside a tiny house that is called Pfahlhaus in German. This building was built in 1767, so it is over 200 years old and it is the oldest building in this neighborhood, which is absolutely incredible. And it has been restored by the owner himself and renovated, but the impact or the goal of the renovation was not to create something new, but to really enhance and keep and respect the old history of this unique place and just respect the charm of one of the smallest single standing houses in Hamburg. We are on the outside in front of the building, and it used to be all of the color was coming off and you could see the bare wall, and it was very wet because it hadn't been maintained very well for some time. Each of the stories has around 33 square meters, so it isn't too big, but you can really get an idea of how space can be used to have the maximum of life quality in a tight space like this. What I already love from the outside is that the building is framed by a lot of green windows that are painted in this beautiful dark green color. Follow me and let's go inside. So as we come inside, we are directly in the kitchen. And you can see that everything here in this room and everything in this apartment is kept to really respect the old history and to just keep this old charm. Over here we have a very small stove that is convenient if you want to cook something small. This apartment only really has 2 rooms without doors, so you could basically call it a loft, only that the loft is situated in a really small ancient building. And we have an open shelf where you can see all of the cutlery and all the dishes. So as you enter, you immediately get a feeling of this farm vibe. And we can see that all of the furniture that has been placed inside this apartment also speaks to the 200-year-old history of this apartment and of this chalet. So the owner didn't decide to add IKEA furniture, but instead he opted for a used farmer table. Or also, if we have a look at the chair, you can see that it has all of these scratches and it looks really worn. That really is the purpose, to use furniture that underline the story and the history of this place. As soon as you enter, you have this very romanticized way of life, and I really like that. I love the roses. And you can see that the roses as a vase, the owner didn't decide to use a normal vase, but instead he put it in a really old vintage milk jar, I believe that's what it's called. So you have yet again another piece of history. The history of this place has been told and respected in a lot of different ways. One of the ways that was respected is in the color palette. The fact that not a lot of modern colors were added, but that the designer really just struck to a very old and historic color palette using just whites, beiges, browns, and just the colors of natural materials and the materials that were also used 200 years ago. So that's really nice. The incredible thing about this historic chalet is the fact that in 1767, when it was built, it was the only house that was standing, and around it there was just a lot of green grass. And it is located in a street that is called the Market Street, Marktstraße in German. This street in Hamburg used to be the street where the farmers would bring their cattle and basically deal with their cattle and sell their cows, buy cows. And the renovation and the design of this place really speaks to this 200-year-old history. So if we have a look around, the living room is kept in very basic, very muted colors, and all of them are very earthy and really natural. There wasn't a new style added to the chalet, but instead everything was kept the way it was and was tried to be enhanced. So you know I love it. We can see all of these wooden beams that are exposed and laid bare. They give the room a very structural aspect. And then again, we have all of these beautiful brick walls that are original from the 18th century. We have all of this beautifully exposed brick, and you can just see that every single stone looks completely different. We assume that this used to be a chimney that went where the ventilation basically went up like that and went through the other stories. We can see that the apartment is framed by a lot of beautiful windows that are all the same, and they're actually Danish windows because, as I showed you, you don't open them to the inside, but you actually open them to the outside. This is a much more space-saving solution to open them to the outside, and then you can just let the nature and the outside flow in. Because we have so many windows, not just on one wall, but on a lot of walls, you have a lot of life and a lot of movement. in this beautiful room and in this beautiful chalet. We can see that we just have a beautiful composition over here. 2 windows that frame the wall behind me symmetrically, and just this little seating area where you can sit down here and have a cup of tea. And even though it's a very small gesture and you don't have a giant sofa area or lounge area, this is more than enough, and it's very appropriate and very nice for this space. And also here you can see that every piece of furniture that was added is bold and has a lot of history. These beautiful wooden chairs, they're upholstered in red fabric. The side table is from Persia, and on top of them we have again beautiful flowers that are placed. Over here we have a fireplace, and it is not legal anymore to have real fireplaces here, so it's an artificial fireplace that has been used. But you can see that to underline the history of this place, we have a very old historic beautiful lamp or a beautiful old radio, and again a lot of flowers, and this just creates a very romantic atmosphere that I love. Another thing that I think has been done really well here is the fact that we have so many different sources of light. So of course, on the one hand, we have all of the natural light coming from the outside, but at the same time, the owner didn't shy away from just placing a lot of lamps on the ceiling, but also have a lot of freestanding lamps. This just creates a very dynamic and earthy and heartwarming, warm atmosphere. So as soon as you come in, you feel like this place is really alive. A perfect combination to create a really warm and alive atmosphere is to have a lot of different sources of light and to have natural elements such as plants or flowers, mostly flowers. The wall separates the living space from the bedroom, so come with me behind the wall. And even though the 2 spaces aren't separated from each other and you have a really open, free-flowing layout, visually in your mind the spaces act as 2 separate spaces, even though we just have half a wall that goes inside the room. So you don't always need very bold solutions, but sometimes just hinting and visually separating a space is already more than enough. This is the master bedroom, and it is just a dream of a historic bedroom. We're just kind of hugged by all of the exposed brick that adds a very natural and warm and earthy atmosphere. And you feel like this is just from some farm-side fairy tale, because everything feels so natural and you just have all of these old, raw and natural materials, and you can just feel the raw energy of the brick when you're sleeping here, and you get to wake up looking at a window and looking outside into nature and enjoying the view. And it's very simple yet very profound design. And to fully tell the history of this beautiful place, you have again a really old vintage farmside table made from wood. So all of the materials that are used here are very old, very rich, and always have a very warm patina. And that's what just gives this place such a profound feeling. Or we have this beautiful lamp that has like the shape of an oil lamp, of these former old oil lamps. And it just adds again a nice pop of color, but it doesn't destroy the story that is being told. The wall behind the bed is framed by a painting. I believe it's of a child that is hugging her teddy bear. And on the other side, we have a tiny micro wardrobe. In the chalet, we have a lot of attention to detail, such as the window shields that are made from wood. And you can see that they extend to give them a little bit more of a visual presence. These are just really small details and that make or break a design. Now we will go inside the bathroom. We have a beautiful door that separates the bathroom from the kitchen. The bathroom is very modern, it has been renovated. Just to give it a very small reference to the old history of the place, these small blue and green tiles were added because you need to know how to deal with an old building like this. The owner decided to add a lot of instructions. Or over here, another element that is very small yet thoughtful is that the copper pipes where the water runs are laid bare, and we have 4 copper pipes that go down from the ceiling all the way to the bottom. Come with me. And one thing I recently learned about windows that I think is very fascinating and interesting is the fact that before, historically, windows used to be the most expensive part of the house. And that's why historically the windows were always very small, and you always had like 4 of them or even 8 or 16 of them to make up a big window. And even here we can also see that instead of having 1 large window, you have 4 small windows. So another really fascinating fact about this piece of architecture is the fact that the lower story actually used to be a ticket office for Hapag-Lloyd, and people, like poor people from Hamburg, used to come here to buy tickets to go to the USA. After this place being a ticket store, it was used as a lot of different stores. This is basically like the store window front and the shield where you would always have like the name of the store being in the inside. Unfortunately, the original sign was destroyed. Another really cool thing is the fact that the owners planted bamboo right next to the building 15 years ago, and today you just have this gigantic jungle atmosphere and you just have all of this bamboo coming out here. These are like the rings of the sewage system. You can comment below if you know what it's called, and they are used as gigantic vases for these trees. This is another really nice lounge area and just outside terrace area where you can sit, enjoy your coffee. You again have this vintage ceramics that are used. It says sugar in Germany, Zucker, and Krütze, which is like historic, something like jam. Now we looked at a beautiful 33 square meter apartment in very old building in Hamburg. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you liked the video, and comment which part was your favorite. If you like the video, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you next week.